I want to welcome everybody in. Because of the sake of time, we're going to get started. So this is Laurel Anderson. She's Department Chair of Child Development at Palomar College, and she's going to be talking about child development careers and also Palomar's program as well. As part of our career weeks, I know there's a lot of interest in getting into child development and child education and things like that, especially early child education. There's always been a lot of interest from students. So this can give you some idea or some sampling as to what that is all about. So Ms. Anderson, I'm going to continue to let students in, but go ahead and take it away. And we will have until about 10:40 with you today.
Great, great. Well, call me if I go too long. I don't have my clock up here. So welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm so glad that you have at least maybe a pinch of interest in Palomar College and maybe even child development. I am Dr. Laurel Anderson, and I, as stated, am the chairperson for our child development department at Palomar. And I have been teaching in child development at Palomar for 20 years. Those years have flown, and I'm so glad to be here to tell you a little bit about what child development is, what we have to offer, what our career pathway preparation looks like, a little bit more information that you can look at on your own as well. So, whoops, I think I shared the wrong one. I'm going to stop my share real quick and pull up a different screen because I want to give you, there it is, more information about what, here I thought I was so prepared. There it is. Okay. So when we look at child development, I like to ask a few questions first off. And oh, it's not showing. So my questions are this. Have you ever wondered why children or babies cry? Have you ever, and I have such great pictures, so I do want to find that one. Hang on. Sorry, my platform for teaching on Zoom is a little bit different than yours. So for some reason it's pulling up. I wanted to pull up this one, not that one. I have one PowerPoint presentation for you that you can download. And maybe this is the right one now. Select and share. Oh, it's not going to let me share this one. Okay, for some reason it's not going to let me share this particular PowerPoint. So I'll go back to my other one. When we look at child development and we ask those questions, I truly apologize. I'm going to think through this real quick. Here I was, all organized.
If you click share screen and you click desktop, it might be able to work on that.
Okay.
Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to share my screen.
So, let's try that. Okay, it's saying maybe it will. They're very different. I'm sorry. My apologies to all of you for that. All right. So I asked the question, have you ever wondered why babies cry? Have you ever wondered why toddlers tantrum? Or why an emerging adult would jump from the deck of a stadium? Truly, I was seated at the stadium, the Diamondback Stadium in Arizona, and a 20-year-old-ish person took a jump from the second level of this stadium and jumped into a pool. The place gasped, some people cheered. My husband, who was sitting next to me, said, "Why would someone do that?" And I said, "I have an answer." For those of you who study child development, you will learn why babies cry, why toddlers tantrum. You will learn how and why this person who's an emerging adult, who you'd think would be using the very logical part of their brain, would jump into a 4-foot deep pool from the second level of a stadium. In development, we look at the brain, why it does what it does, what we can expect from someone of various ages and stages. We take a look at what's going on sociologically or social emotionally. So what's happening in the surrounding, the person's surrounding, what their parenting styles were like, what their school systems were like, what kind of peer interactions a person had. And then we also look at the whole physical development. So infants are very different from our emerging adult, both in structure, their body size, of course. We go from being 6 pounds to being well over 6 pounds by the time we're 20. What's going on physiologically, and how is that connected to the brain and how it is that we interact with other people? In child development, we have those answers to those questions, and actually so many more. I also ask the question, have you ever thought about becoming a teacher? Or are you fascinated with people and their behaviors? Do you want to work with families and children? All of those are questions that are a part of the pathway as we move into the many career pathways that child development offers. Now, clearly, all of these career pathways involve more than just a couple of courses at Palomar. Some of them involve getting a master's degree, some a bachelor's degree, some of them with the associates that you would accomplish at your time at Palomar College. But child development as a career or as an academic pathway does invite a whole host of career pathways. It sets a very firm foundation for educators and therapists and teachers' assistants and as you can see, a whole host of opportunities. Advocates, so we have a number of programs at Palomar College that we offer. Some of them for working with children who are school aged, some for working with children 0 to 5. We also have child and family services degrees. I will show you some of the pathways there, but as you can see, there's a whole host of opportunities that working in or studying child development can offer. We do have a website, a very comprehensive website that I'll take you to. I don't think I can click on it. Nope, I can't click on it while we're in this video, but I will take you to this at the end of our session so you can just get a better idea of what's available to you on the website. We do offer over 30 courses and our courses cover a wide variety of childhood topics and both sociological and psychological. We have theory classes that take a look at answering some of those questions that I asked at the beginning of this presentation. We also invite curriculum courses, you to learn how to do curriculum writing. So for those of you who do have an interest in going down the education pathway, we prepare our educators for writing their own curriculum, writing curriculum that's developmentally and age appropriate. And then we have practicum classes and internship classes. Our practicum classes offers students the opportunity to work with children 0 to 5. And then we have an internship that works in the community with families. We also have administration classes for those who would like to become early childhood administrators or program directors. Obviously, our focus is on birth to age 8, but we do have an emphasis, a very strong emphasis on 0 to 5. Many of our classes do reach into conversations, of course, about adolescence and emerging adulthood, because we know that growth and development doesn't end at the age of 5 or 8. Here are, some of you may be very interested in this, and I hope you are. Here are some of our certificate and degree options. Now, this looks like a little bit like a Monopoly board, and we were intentional about that. We thought that it could be helpful for students who want to get started in early childhood education or child development to know where to start and how to start. So if you can see on the left side of the screen, we have a series of 5 classes. Child Development 99 is our foundational class that we ask all of our child development students to take, which teaches things like APA formatting so that you're able to write your papers at a collegiate level using the APA format and style. That course also is a basic introduction to lesson plans and doing observations and such that sets you up for success in your other classes. And then there are 4 more classes, one of them being an option for curriculum classes. Now, for those of you who would like to teach in early childhood education, the state of California mandates that you have, in many of our programs, mandate that you have 12 units of early childhood education and or a associate teacher permit. So our first little orangish colored box that I'm pointing to right here, that aligns with the state permits. And so for those of you who are interested in working in early childhood education as an assistant or an associate teacher, then if you take that coursework and do the hours necessary for the state for your permit, then you will obviously be permittable and allowed to work in those facilities. From there, because that's our foundation, those 5 classes, or 99, 100, 104, 115, and then the choice of a curriculum class, then you have a number of other options to go as well. One takes you right up into Child and Family Services, and that's the course I was talking about where we do internships in the community for those of you who want to work with families maybe in crisis or families who are perhaps homeless. Many of our students have done work in shelters, providing growth and learning opportunities for those families, working with children who are abused and neglected and so forth. That's one pathway, the Child and Family Services. Our students also work with things like SNAP and other governmentally supported programs. Then straight across, you can see that there's the teacher. And for those who desire to work in early childhood education and want to achieve higher permits that the state requires, then you would go into that blue box. And then there are choices beyond that for if you care to work solely or primarily with infants and toddlers or preschoolers, or those with special needs. So those are 3 additional options that you have. Each one of these little boxes is a certificate. So you can see you get a certificate at the associate teacher level, at the teacher level, at the infant, toddler, preschool, or early inclusion level. You can also then obviously be working towards your administrative degree. So we have lots of options. We call them stackable degrees because you can get your first certificate and then build degrees onto that certificate, which is very satisfying for the academic path, as well as helpful for gleaning employment. We also have other pathways. We have the school age assistant that I talked about earlier. This is a certificate of achievement. It does not go towards a degree, but it does allow you the opportunity to learn and be prepared to work in as a student aide or a student assistant in the school K-12 grade curriculum or K-12 platform. Then we have 2 transfer degrees. We have one that transfers to a number of our CSU schools, And then, and that's the light pink. And then the dark pink is what transfers to CSUSM. So those are the courses that are part of the degrees to do those transfers. Before I go any further, questions? Now that we got started on the right track. Any questions?
Yeah, if you have any questions about careers, childhood development, things like that, put them in the chat, or you can just open up your mic, either one. But we want to make sure we answer anything that you have.
All right, very good, thank you. So obviously, if you are wondering, we do have a lot of students who dual enroll, who take classes at college while they're in high school. And the Child Development 99 is a great place to start, because as part of the Child Development 99, the preparation course, you get one-on-one advising, and then that person, like me, would become your advisor throughout your time at Palomar, your child development advisor. So we do all of the advising for child development students, and general education does their own set of advising, but we do just the advising for child development courses. And then the first two courses that are mandated by state that all early childhood educators need to have is Child Development 100, which is growth and development. And that's where you're going to get a lot of the answers to the questions that I asked at the beginning, like why do babies cry? And why do toddlers tantrum? And then Child Development 115 is more sociological. And this is where you're going to learn things like, what impact does your friend have on you and your decision making? What impact do your parents' occupations have on your development? You'll learn questions about what kind of impact does, I don't know, COVID-19 have on your development? So we take a look at the various systems, the ecosystems that surround us, and put into action then some ideas of how we can intervene when people's ecosystems are not healthy. So we get to be a part of solution solving. And in the Child Development 115, we actually have service learning, where in non-COVID times, we can go out and do service in the community. During COVID times, we do service a little bit differently, but nonetheless, still wanting to make an impact to make our world better. And to just, and in this course, we learn that people are not entities into themselves, that we are definitely connected. And through this connection, we have a responsibility to the world around us to pull other people in, and how to help them be the best that they can be. So that's where we start. I spoke briefly about the permits, and information is also found on our website. I'm happy to answer questions about this as well, but I do want to emphasize that in early childhood education, which is a little bit different from child development is all about the development of the child. And as I stated, you can go a variety of different directions or multiple directions in this career path. Early childhood education is primarily have some is dictated by the state in through licensing and permitting. And so this is a matrix that we follow when we put together the programs. You don't have to know all of this right now, but know that we are very aware of what's required by the state, so that we prepare our students so that they have the credentialing that they need to be gainfully employed and successful in that employment. And on that website, I also have information about how to get a permit, so that you can follow the protocol. Always console with any of the full-time staff. We're happy to help you with any questions that you have. We also, lastly, I want to talk briefly about our phenomenal early childhood education lab school that we have on our 2 campuses. Right now, during this COVID crazy, we are not open in Escondido, but hopefully in the not too distant future, we'll be back and open in Escondido. But this one is a picture of our Early Childhood Education Lab School, which is open in San Marcos on campus. Our students get to do observations here. We get to do our practicums here. And we utilize all best practice, very high quality childcare. So our students learn and know best practices and can implement that in their own practice. So we liked to promote our Early Childhood Education Lab School for parents who would like to have their children in a high quality facility, as well as students who want to learn from the best. All right, that takes us to 10:26, and I would love to entertain your questions now that I finally have gotten this PowerPoint to work.
Okay. So part of the price of admission to coming to this is to have some questions ready for our speaker. And that can also be questions from our teachers as well. Ms. Campbell, do you have any questions, or does some of your students have any questions? I think my main question is, if I were in high school today and I was thinking about early childhood education and getting into that as well, you know, what are some things I should be studying in high school to help me make that transition to start thinking about some of these careers?
Great. Well, because this is a social science course, or typically, if you have the opportunity to tap your toes into a development class or a psychology class, sociology class, that can give you a foundation, or it can whet your appetite for learning more. I know that some schools, let's see, you're in Vista. I don't know that you have child development in the high school. Do you? In the Family Consumer Science Department? I can't
we used to have that in previous years, but we do not have that now, as we don't have the child care center.
Okay. So if you do have a psychology class or sociology class, those are really helpful. Additionally, I would say that our best students come prepared in other areas, like understanding math and understanding English and having a good foundation about, not necessarily grammatically, but understand how to write papers and how to read texts and such, because the more capable you are in reading statistics or understanding demographic writings, the easier it will be. But primarily, honestly, some of our best students come with just an absolute deep desire to make a difference in this world, and who really love people and want to become better parents. Oh, I should have put that in there too. So if you want to be a great parent, or maybe you're questioning how you were parented, or you see others and people who are parents and go, oh, that's so awesome, or oh, I don't like that. Much of the information that you do learn can help you in your own personal relationships, and prepare you for being a high quality parent, learning how to communicate, learning what to expect of children, learning what to expect of yourself, learning what's appropriate. Sometimes people expect 2-year-olds to sit still, let's say through a worship service. Developmentally, that's totally inappropriate. 2-year-olds don't do that. That's not how they're wired. And so we sometimes can have unfortunate expectations and cause undue harm to the child. So honestly, if you have a deep love for people and, like I said, wanting to make the world better, that's a great starting place. And if you can ascertain fact from fiction, even better. Other questions? I love questions, so let me answer.
I know they're a little shy. I think one of the things that maybe we should talk about a tiny bit is, and I know you've covered a little bit of this already, is when you start off in childhood education, you don't necessarily have to become a teacher or an administrator right off the top. There can be a pathway there where you can take different steps,
right,
and achieve different things. And maybe you could talk about that just a little bit.
Absolutely. And that does align with our certificates and the permits. So 2 courses is 6 units is all you need to get your foot in the door to start being a teacher's assistant in early childhood education. 6 units. So if you take the 100 and the 115, you're good to get started. And so you can get in, and then you work under another educator. So there would be a primary teacher in the classroom, but then you would be an assistant teacher working with the children. There are contingencies for that person, you know, bathroom and toileting and that type of thing, diaper changes and such that are mandated by the number of hours and different requirements by the state. So that's why we really strongly encourage students to get 12 units so that they are able to be left alone with children in the classroom, able to float from one classroom to another. If you get infant toddler classes, and you can work with babies and that type of thing. So the state does have a lot of mandates for those who work in early childhood education, but the first mandate is 12 units. That's it. 12 units, 6 units, and then worked to 12 units. So 6 units working to 12 will get you into the classroom. And then you build from there, just like the permit matrix, as well as our certificates. The more education you have, obviously, the more responsibilities you have, which means the more pay that you get. And obviously, with more education, we know the higher quality care that the children will get, and so forth. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, and I think the other thing that we might want to touch on is when students are looking at careers in child education and child development, they're also, I mean, we kind of have to get a feel for what the pay scale is along the way.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't know whether or not you had any information on that you might be able to share.
Yeah, of course. If we were to pay by what the care is worth, then there would not be enough dollars to pay a person, right? Because it's the most important job to care for our most vulnerable population, which is our young children. We're still working on getting higher pay for our early childhood educators. It is above minimum wage as a starting point, but not much. But depending on the facility, like, so for instance, some high quality facilities have the starting pay is exponentially higher than others. But it's not uncommon for it to be just above minimum wage if you have your 6 units and coming in as an assistant teacher. Then you build from there. And then there's I'm talking about corporate preschools first. So that, and then you build on and you become a program director and so forth, a site director, program director. And then obviously with each increment of responsibility, you get more pay. And it's definitely a viable living wage as you move up that ladder. Now, there's another pathway that some people take, and that's building their own business, having their own family childcare. And that does provide more finances and can be much more lucrative financially, especially at the beginning. We strongly encourage people who do start their own business to take some business courses as well as early childhood education courses, working with families, classes, and so forth, because you will need to be able to implement best practices if you do want to have a viable, high quality childcare that you are running as well. But the state of California does have a few minimum requirements for owning your own family childcare. We like to encourage people to go beyond the minimum when they open their own childcare. So
does it make good money?
It makes, yes, you can do well.
Yeah, I think if the emphasis is if you're running your own business, that's a whole different ball game in terms of what you might be able to potentially earn down the road. It
Right.
depends on how successful the business turns out to be. But
And
that's
we
really different than being paid a wage.
Right. And owning your own business, of course, means a whole host of different responsibilities on your behalf, as well as learning how to do marketing and so forth. And so it's strongly encouraged that people take those courses so that you can run a high quality, because high quality does result in higher income. Overall, that's just how it works. So, other questions?
Any other questions, guys?
Are you just dying to know why children, infants cry, and why toddlers tantrum, and why on earth that young man jumped from that second story? If you are, sign up for classes.
Yep. Well, thanks so much for being with us today. I know this is like a really quick time slice, and part of the idea behind all of this is to expose a lot of students to a lot of different careers. And early childhood development and education has been very popular.
Great.
And if you know of a friend who didn't have a chance, we are recording these. And I'm going to be posting them to the college and career website as well.
I would love to be able to post my PowerPoint, the one that I didn't show, but it's not allowing me. So
That's
should I?
okay. You can send it by email, and I will post
I'll do
that for students
Okay.
as well. And I know this is a lot of information, guys, to take in a very short period of time.
But you have my email address, and I'm happy to address any questions that you have or help you get enrolled or anything of that sort.
And hopefully, as we usually do, I think next year, if we're back to normal, we can come over and take a tour of your facility, which I've done in the past. And then we'll also have some more events on campus as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you all. Thank you all for your interest, and thank you for being here. I love talking about child development and could go on all day. So,
okay. Thank you so much. And we will see you again, hopefully this next year.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.